Welcome to the What's Our Verdict podcast, when we fashion ourselves cinematic judge and jury. My name is JJ Crowder. I'm here with my co-hosts Javier Ortiz.
What is up, my nerds?
And Ian Anderson.
Some shit.
We appreciate your help growing the podcast. Go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, and bell notification numbers or button so you know when we release a new episode. Go check out our website, whatsourverdict.com, where you can sign up for our newsletter to get exclusive content and updates, pick up some sweet merch, and interact with us because we love to interact with you guys. So the question that we do ask each week is if you ever find yourself wondering if you should spend the time, money, or both on a movie. To help answer that question, we put a movie on trial, discuss the facts, pass judgment, and let you know our verdict. This is our spoiler-free review. We rate these movies based on spoiler-free on a 3-tiered scale. Worth it, meaning you should definitely watch this movie as soon as possible. Stream it, meaning wait until you watch it for free. And finally, not impressed, meaning you shouldn't watch it at all. Our deep dive reviews, which we go way into spoilers, are available every Monday wherever fine podcasts are found. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Ghana, just to name a few. And we do release them here on YouTube, just usually there's a little bit of a delay. Today we're reviewing The Suicide Squad. It was released August 6, 2021. It was written and directed by James Gunn. It stars Idris Elba, Margot Robbie, John Cena, Joel Kinnaman, Daniela Melchior, David Dastmalchian, Sylvester Stallone, and Viola Davis. Supervillains Bloodsport, Harley Quinn, Peacemaker, and a collection of nutty cons at Belle Reve Prison join the super secret, super shady Task Force X as they are dropped off at the remote, enemy-infused island of Corto Maltese. It's like one of the longest, like
Corto Maltese.
There you go. I was glad they translated a lot for this movie.
I always make fun of people when I mispronounce like European cities or countries, and they correct me like it's pronounced like this. I'm like, in what language? And they're like, in English or whatever language that they're. I'm like, oh, okay. Do you pronounce it Mexico? Because that's how you pronounce it. No, you don't.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pronounce. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
I'm glad
I loved it.
somebody out there is making fun of people for that because it drives me nuts too, but I don't know what to do about it.
Dude, ask them how they pronounce Mexico. Yeah, that's a go-to one for me.
Here's the thing.
No, they do. They like pronounce it with all the accents, and I'm like, okay, but is that how you say it?
It's like, I call BS. I don't think you know how to pronounce it.
Here's my problem though, Javier, is if I'll ask, and if you tell me it's pronounced Mexico, I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna fuck that up, so it's just Mexico.
No, and that's fine. I think everyone should be able to pronounce the country the way that they learned how to pronounce the country or city's name.
That's fair.
Right? Like, don't get on my case if I'm mispronouncing some German town if you can't pronounce Mexico.
That's fair.
Right?
That's fair.
Anyway.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I love that. Luckily, I lived in Arizona for a couple of years, so I picked up on a couple of those.
Spanish is like the easiest one, too.
Okay.
It's way easier than like Scandinavia. Anyway.
True.
Okay.
So the Suicide Squad. let's jump in spoiler free. Ian, you haven't started for a while. I want to hear what you think about this movie, spoiler free, my friend.
Man, but see, if I start, then you guys are going to come up with all these reasons that I'm wrong, and I'm going to have to sit here and just take it.
Yeah, I get to be the one that's like, I disagree.
No, it's usually me.
So I've been trying to think long and hard about why I didn't like this movie as much as I thought I was going to. And I think the first thing, that's what she said about the movies.
No, sorry, I missed it. I came in a little too late in the long and hard.
It's all about Tommy. That's what she said. Man, I've lost track. You guys are throwing me off already. I think what I struggled with this movie is I came in expecting to see something very similar to the first Suicide Squad, and I feel like this one was a lot different. This was like much more like just goofy, cheap laugh comedy, random people getting blown away. I thought it was going to be like the first one, so it wasn't, and I kind of struggle with that. So if you're going to see this and you're expecting the first one, like reel in your expectations, or at least like put them in the appropriate category so that you're not surprised, because this is a lot different than the first Suicide Squad. And I also felt like it's a lot like, I can't think of a better way to say this, but you know, like when you eat like an Arby's sandwich, like one is good, but if you keep eating, like you get sick. It's like, no, this is an Arby's sandwich movie where you do like 45 minutes, but if it keeps going, like it makes you sick. And that's how I felt. Like I did not like this movie. I liked it 45 minutes in, and then after that, I was like, okay, like you guys have done the same thing for 2 hours. Like I'm good. So I would say like stream it for the first 45 and then not impressed for 45 to the end. So not impressed.
So okay, so not impressed overall.
Yeah, sorry guys. I know you're not gonna like that, but I'm switching things up. Me and Javier aren't
JJ might
disagreeing
like
today,
it.
so or aren't agreeing.
Yeah, I won't argue with you. So okay, this movie, I'm so torn with this movie, and I told Casey last night. I was like, we got in the car, and I said this movie was exactly what I thought it was going to be, only more. Which is, and I don't say that to say that that's necessarily a good thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but I also said to you guys when we left the theater last night, I said, this is what happens when you turn James Gunn loose with no restrictions whatsoever. And that is exactly what this movie is. And to your point, Ian, one thing that I struggled with this movie, I had a great time for most of this movie, but it felt. I asked Casey the second thing I asked her in the car is, how long was that movie? Because it felt like really long to me, but it felt long to me because of the end. There's a point in this movie about 3/4 of the way through where it goes completely sideways for me, and then the movie drug on. And I was like, wow, this is slow. It got really, because it got weird. I mean, look, this movie was weird from front to back, but it got really weird at a point, and I lost a little bit of interest. And so I think James Gunn is amazing. I think he's a genius, but I think he needs to be reined in certain areas, and they didn't do that with him. And so this movie kind of lost me at the end, and then brought me back at the very end for about 2 minutes, and then, but that chunk of probably 20 minutes in the middle that I just near the end, it just lost me, and I struggled, and it felt long, and that was the biggest problem for me. It's beautifully violent, hilarious at moments. Like there's moments where I was like laughing my ass off, and then when I thought I was done laughing, they made me laugh some more. Sylvester Stallone stole this movie for me, which is shocking because Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn is probably one of my favorite movie characters in the last 20 years. And she was fantastic, don't get me wrong, but King Shark is the best part of this movie. Hilarious throughout this movie.
That who Sylvester Stallone was? Because I
he was the voice of King Shark.
Who on earth? I did not see that guy. I was looking for Rocky. He wasn't in there.
Dude, it's like Vin Diesel as Groot, right? It's like, why pay so much?
Well, there's a funny story to it. So I guess they had like 3 or 4 people trying to voice King Shark, and it just wasn't working. And James Gunn has a relationship with Sylvester Stallone. He was in the Guardians of the Galaxy 2. They've worked quite a couple of times with each other. So he just called him and said, hey, I'm working on this character. Can you kind of do a voice just because I want to hear it? And then I guess he just blew it out of the water. And so they brought him in permanently. And he was fucking great in this movie. Like, yeah, it was fantastic. So there were a lot of fantastic things about this movie that I absolutely adored. But when they got it wrong, they got it really wrong. And I think that really drug it down in a lot of ways. So I'm not going to go completely with the end, but I'm also not going to say, I don't know, because it was so, when it was so entertaining, it was just unbelievably entertaining. So I'm going to give it a really high stream it, Like, I wouldn't begrudge anyone that went and decided to go see it in the theater, but the fact that you can see it on HBO Max, if you have HBO Max, go watch it there. I don't think you have to go to a movie theater to have fun with this movie. Even the action scenes, the only scene that is the part that we'll talk about in the deep dive that actually drug me out of this movie, that made this movie feel long to me, is the only part that has any impact on you going to see it in the theater because of the sheer size of that part of the movie. But it's not that good of a part of the movie, so I don't think you need to be at the theater to see it. So
Do you
I
mind
say
if I
stream it,
mention one thing?
please.
You kind of jogged my memory. One thing that I didn't expect and kind of I think took me out of this movie is the pacing, because it will ramp up and get you. It'll build up to a climax and then stop and like rewind and start building up to another one and stop. So I don't feel like you get the resolution or the natural like up and down flow. It's really hard stopped, and I think it makes the movie feel a lot longer, as well as it just kind of takes you out of the story at those particular moments. I won't like spoil them, but just wanted to add that.
Yeah, I like that. All right, Javier, bring us home with your spoiler free, sir.
Okay. This movie is way better than the first Suicide Squad. It's also way better than Black Widow. So, of all the little actiony hero movies that have come out recently, this one's better than those. So, let that kind of set the bar. Black Widow is a very, very low bar. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not like comparing it to an incredible movie. I'm just saying that I was reading some Instagram comments on a Suicide Squad trailer. People are like, this movie's terrible. I'm like, it's not terrible. It's just not incredible. You know what's terrible? Thor 1 and 2, Iron Man 2. Those are terrible.
Shit.
You have great acting. Idris Elba in anything is good. I would watch Idris Elba acting with a bowl of soup, and it would probably still be awesome. It gets weird though, guys. Like, I don't know if DC really knows what they're supposed to do, because they've done really well with super dark movies, and they've done well with like whimsical movies with Margot Robbie and Shazam, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they've had success on two ends of the spectrum, and on this one it seems like they kind of try to combine the two a little bit, and it's a little weird. It gets real weird. It's like you're watching a Quentin Tarantino movie with how much gore there is too.
That's
so
true.
Just keep that in mind. There's a lot of just viscera everywhere. Anyway, I think it's a very fun movie. I'm with JJ though. I wouldn't necessarily encourage people to run to the theater because there's no real reason to. If you can watch it from the comfort of your own house, just do that, because I'm not going to claim it's an incredible movie, but I will claim it's on par with any other shitty Marvel movie. So I'm going to say stream it.
Fair enough. Yeah, there it is. So a couple of stream it's and a not impressed. Check it out. It's worth watching, I think, just because it's so wildly different than anything else that's out there. And it has its very entertaining moments. But, man, when they fuck it up, they certainly fuck it up pretty good, which I agree with you, Javier. That's for all the shit that you talk on Marvel, the one thing that they do is they still make movies that to most people are entertaining. They may not be great movies, but they're entertaining, and you can watch them and sit through all of them. DC hasn't put together, in my opinion, very many complete movies that are entertaining from front to back.
They almost have like 10 at this point. Like they have like two handfuls of good movies, which Marvel struck out in the beginning. They have like 9 crappy Hulk movies and Spider-Man movies, right? So it's like we never talk about those. So I'd like to cut DC some slack, but how much slack can you possibly cut a studio before you're like, all right, guys, like you need to start making consistently good movies?
It's funny because when you think about the dichotomy of the two, so you have Marvel, who didn't get it right until they decided to create this Marvel universe, and that's when they started to make entertaining movies. Because you're not wrong, their movies prior to Iron Man, hot garbage. The movies, but DC was making decent movies and some entertaining movies prior to them trying to figure out this universe shit. But it
Mhm.
goes back to when I talk about everybody's trying to be Marvel and people need to stop it.
Yeah.
You're not going to find that magic in a bottle that Marvel's figured out because they've got their formula that makes their
Yeah.
movies.
Their formula, their fan base, the money. Like, how are you
Yeah.
going to compete with that?
You can't. You got to figure out how to do it your own way, and DC
And
hasn't
Marvel
figured that out yet.
DC has their own way that everyone
Sure.
loves, like Heath Ledger as the Joker. People loved. In fact, I'm really looking forward to this.
The new Batman.
Yeah, Batman with Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
That we saw a trailer for it
Yeah.
for this movie, and I was like, "Oh shit, I'm turned on right now." Like, am I attracted to Robert Pattinson? No, am I?
I'd be all right if he was under my table. No, I'm just
So I don't know. And it seems like it's going to be a dark movie.
Yeah.
And I think that's what
which
DC is
what
good at.
DC is good at.
Yeah.
Even their cartoons are dark. Like, I don't understand why they're trying to compete with Marvel.
Yeah. Well, and if you think about it, like even like one of my favorites, and I know a lot of people pan the movie, but I liked the Birds of Prey movie very much. But it
Me
was
too.
dark and it had its moments, but even the comedy was dark. Like it wasn't like they were trying too hard to be funny like this one kind of did at a lot of moments. They just let the comedy come because it's so fucked up and twisted what's going on the screen that you can't help but laugh because you're like, holy shit, that's happening. So they just need to lean into that. And I think they have the right characters and the stories, and they just need to stop trying to follow Marvel's formula.
In DC's defense, I feel like this is a middle of the road movie.
Sure.
And previously, DC either knocks it out of the park or it's a huge swing and a miss.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
Like
true.
Wonder Woman 1, amazing movie.
Oh.
Wonder Woman 2,
Garbage.
Right? So it's like, at least this one is in the middle for me.
Yeah.
At least.
No, I'm with you. I completely agree. And I'll finish on this. My only issue is this felt like Guardians of the Galaxy rated R. Like that's what,
Yeah.
and I think I couldn't let go of that, which makes sense, right? It's James Gunn. And like I said, they let him loose because it's DC and they have no problem with their movies being rated R. But I was like, that to me at times, I was like, oh, it's just the same shit he did with Guardians of the Galaxy, just to the next level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's the violence or it's the comedy not ramped up, the weird shit ramped up. Even the final scene, like the big final scene is almost, well, I won't go into that yet, but remind me for the deep dive because I don't want to give too many spoilers, but it's almost identical to a scene in the second Guardians of the Galaxy. So it's very interesting when you think about it.
It also seemed like they were just trying to break a bunch of rules.
Yeah.
Right. And some of them worked and some
Sure.
of them definitely did not.
No. Yeah. Anyway, I think we talked enough spoiler free because now I want to get into the deep dive. So which we'll do. Yeah. So come join us for the conversation. We want to hear about it. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all at What's Our Verdict. Let us know what you thought about Suicide Squad. Okay. And then, if you've seen it, we want to hear about it. If not, we hope we've helped you decide on what to do and whether to watch it or not. Also, check out our website, whatsourverdict.com. You can go there and leave a comment on our reviews that we do. You can access any of our episodes. We have some TV. We do some TV shows that we review and talk about. You can find those there as well. You can also see all of our social media there, everything, our website, merchandise. We have a lot of cool stuff on our website, so go check that out. Also, if you want to tell us anything or request a movie or just want to tell us how cool we are, whatever that might be, or how shitty you think we are, hosts at whatsourverdict.com. You can send us an email directly. And finally, we'd love for you to leave us a review Apple iTunes or Spotify or Stitcher, wherever you can leave reviews. We'd love to have those. They help grow the podcast. So we appreciate you for that. We appreciate you tuning in. Javier had to step away, so we're probably not going to get our bye-bye now, but that's all right. We appreciate you tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one. Oh, I'll say it. Cinemagic out.
Whoa!